Rule Galloway, Spinners of Yarns podcast with Arsenal Riders of the Night legend Monkey. How are you?
I'm good. Nice to see you again.
Likewise. Yeah. So we'll start at the beginning. Where were you born? Because we were talking about that earlier.
I was actually born on the Thames Delta, the other side of right down the end, south end.
Yeah.
So I wasn't born in London. I was born right on the water there down in Essex. So I'm an Essex boy. Only lived there. I don't even remember it. So I lived there till I was about a year old, and so I have no recollection of it whatsoever. I haven't been there for a long while, but I've been threatening to take my grandson down there this summer. Yeah. Go and visit the old spots where we used to live, and if they're still there, because the hospital's gone. Quite a famous place in music echelons. And sort of bounced back later on in life, and did sort of spend a lot of time down there at one stage. Southend is a lot of musical history down there.
So where did you move next then?
We ended up going all over the place. Between being born and up to about 25, 26, I don't think we ever stayed in the same place for more than 3 years. So we was always on the hop for one reason or another, and ended up we went from there, moved to Denmark. I lived in Denmark for a couple of years when I was little, and that's on account of my mother being Danish. She actually grew up in Nazi-occupied Denmark during, obviously, the late 30s up to the mid 40s, and she moved to England later on. Was working in London down at Liverpool Street and bumped into my father, who was born in Scotland. He's from Aberdeen, and moved to London, to this area here. We're actually sitting here in Highbury at the moment, about 3 or 4 years old with the family, and ended up, he was working at Liverpool Street on the trains down there, and they met down there, moved out to Southend, and bang, I turned up. Went to Denmark, came back from there, and we went to a place called Haverhill in Suffolk, which is like a London overspill town. I don't know if you've heard of it. You've heard of Haverhill?
I have, yeah.
Really, yeah, that surprised me. But that was... like I say, a London overspill town. It was a little place out in the sticks that previously my uncles and cousins had moved up to. They'd moved out of London up there, and so we kind of followed them. Went there, ended up on a country estate, and it was fun. It was a great town to grow up in. It was there from up until about 1971, 72, till we moved away from there. We lived in a few houses there, but that was a fantastic place. It was like out in the sticks. There was fields, there was countryside. It was a bit of a shock for the locals of being invaded by all these like mad Londoners, and but it brought a lot of industry to the town as well, because all the companies that moved up there from London, they took the firms up there and opened up a big industrial site up there, which is still there to this day. I don't know how thriving it is anymore, but it was a good community up there. It was all working class council estates dotted around here and there, but the communities were good. Get the phone tone. There was it was just good fun. There was nothing going on there, so you had to invent your own entertainment, and we did, and a lot of it ended up being musical as well. A lot of little bands sprung up, especially when the punk thing come along later on. I moved away. I moved to, where else did I live? I lived up near Peterborough for a while, and then from there to round near Cambridge, which was also good. Cambridge was a nice place to live. We had a pub. We'd gone into the pub game by then. Yeah, my old man got in the pub game, which was a bit like a kid in a sweet shop. But it was great for us, the kids, like me and my sister used to love it, like especially. It was difficult moving around all the time, going to different schools, because we'd be in a school for a couple of years, you'd be shunted off somewhere else, back into another school, got to start again, make new friends. You'd be doing your lessons at one school, you go to another school, they'd expect you to have learnt this, you didn't learn that, but you'd done other stuff that they hadn't done. Education was a bit mixed up as well, you know, didn't do great educational wise, academic wise I should say, but it was a good way to discover the world and life and friends and you know, broaden your horizons and meet lots of people.
So when did you kind of like to first discover music then? Before the punk thing?
Oh God, yeah. I was into music. I think I've always been into music. Music's in you. It's like a sixth sense to me. I think it's some kind of a sixth sense. And my first recollections were listening to it on the radio in the house as a kid, but about 4 or 5 years old. Beatles on the radio, Yellow Submarine, and Bernard Cribbins records, and Tommy Cooper, Don't Jump Off the Roof, Dad. Peter Sellers stuff and all that. All those stuff they used to play on Saturday mornings. There was like kids shows on the radio, Radio 2, and I used to love listening to all that stuff. And music was like. There was no entertainment, there was just no telly during the day in them days. No. Like, we didn't do TV. You played football out in the streets, or you played with your mates out in the street. Entertainment-wise, music on the radio was big, and everybody always had their radio on, and you used to pick up on things like that, And I remember the Beatles stuff, and my mum still tells me, I remember you used to sing that Beatles song, Yellow Bumbarine. But music from then was always in me, and it was like I just loved it. It's a sixth sense. You got it. You can feel it. It's electricity in you. And I've always had that. It just over the years it got brought out in different ways, listening to different styles, different genres, different things. What really set me off big time, was glam. When we got into glam. Right. Which was a little bit later on.
73, 74?
Before, 72. Yeah, that was 72. We moved into the pub and we never had a record player. So I never had a record player till I was about 12 or something, because we lived in pubs and we had a jukebox. We didn't have a record player, but we was the only kids in town with a jukebox, you know what I mean? So we used to be well popular. And you'd get all the local rep from the fruit machine jukebox companies coming in, filling them up every month or two. They'd put the new stuff in and the old stuff, take that away with them. But when the pub was closed, the old man there was a switch around the back where you didn't have to put any money in, so we just go and play the jukebox, have the run of the pub. When it was closed, it was a fantastic little life for youngsters. And that was some of the music there. I can remember songs that I haven't heard, for the last 40, 50 years. I'll probably recall the words for all those tunes now if you put them on, It's it just becomes so instilled in you. It's I don't know what it is, whether it was the beat, whether it was the lyrics, whether it was just the vibe of things, And if you hear some of them songs now, they just take you right back there because it's still in you. It never leaves you, Later on, a big one was that really kicked me off was Little Richard. I was staying with a couple. They were looking after me for a little while, and the woman had a fantastic stereo. And I was going through these records, and there was this album it was called Little Richard, His Greatest or something it was called. I can't remember now. Ended up buying the album. I've still got it to this day. But I went there and I was staying at this place for the whole weekend, and I put this Little Richard album on, and it was the most fantastic thing I'd ever heard, especially on this big massive stereo thing, and it just blew me away. It went right through into my bones, through my veins, everywhere, and I just hammered this album to death for days. I just couldn't stop playing it, and by the end of that weekend I knew every riff, every little drum diddle, every piano run. It was all in there, and I still remember all of that now, you know. And I bought the album and it's still in my collection and still gets played. You know, it's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
So Little Richard was my first real rock and roll hero. After the Sweet and Slade and Alice Cooper and Gary Glitter, dare I say.
Ooh.
Some fantastic records, though.
Yeah, of course, at the time.
Yeah,
Who knew?
Yeah, exactly, the Glitter Band, all that was great stuff, you know. Yeah. Tremendous. And from there, things led on and developed.
Yeah. You,
Are we back?
yeah, we just keeps recording. It's fair to say, punk, when did you first become aware of that? 76 or 77, I suppose?
It would have been right at the beginning. I was definitely aware of it. At the time, I was living over in Cambridge, and I used to spend a lot of time in a guy's record shop. It was Remember Those Oldies? Well, it used to be in this market. There was a market there called the Marcade, and there was a record stall there. And the guy who ran it was a guy called Lee Wood. I don't know if you heard of him. He ran Raw Records. Raw Records, The Unwanted, and the Killjoys, Roland's first band, and I just used to go religiously every Saturday. Listen to that.
You okay?
Religiously every Saturday, I used to go to this guy's stall and just go through the records like a kid in a sweet shop. Hardly had any money, so he's like, I was looking for the cheap. I used to get singles for like 10, 15p, you know, and a lot of them used to have these American imports, and this was when I was really into the rock and roll stuff. I was picking up like records on the specialty label, like for like 20p or something like that, and anything that looked good, that looked interesting. I was not only buying, but I was listening to him, I was hearing him. He was turning me on to stuff all the time. But there was just so much variety there, you know. But I was steadfast rock and roll. There was a lot of ska getting played. I can remember Desmond Decker doing an appearance there in the shop one day as well. He came and he was doing a bit of rapping along to his record. They was playing a disc in there. That was then there was a lot of skinheads there. Then that would have been, say, early 70s skins. The proper the ska stuff. There was a lot of that he sold.
Yeah.
But from there, I was listening to the rock and roll stuff, and then later on, that place in the market got burnt down, unfortunately. But he ended up opening a shop on the other side of the city called Remember Those Oldies, which he used to. He started getting all these stiff Chiswick records, all the early like Count Bishop's, the Bishop's Speedball album EP. I can remember that coming in, and he played that to death in the shop, and that was great, you know. The Feel Goods,
Nicholas Eric.
I'd say a lot of the stiff stuff. You know, all the Chris Lowe, David. They started becoming a bit of a crossover between the punk and the rock and roll stuff that I was into. It was like, you know, and then there was Eddie and the Hot Rods, and it was like, Eddie and the Hot Rods, what are they, rock and roll, are they punk, are they, what are they, you know? And then you even had the Pistols doing like Come On Everybody and something else, and the Clash doing Brand New Cadillac and stuff, you know, which I'd bought a couple of years before they brought it out by Vince Taylor on the Chiswick label. And it was like I was getting a bit muddled here because I'm a rocker, like, you know, I ain't a punk, but I like this stuff as well, you know what I mean? But I was just too no, I can't. But in the end, you just sort of you just go with the flow, like, you know. And ended up picking up the Buzzcocks. When I heard the Buzzcocks, Spiral Scratch, that was another sort of eureka moment. You know, that was otherworldly to me, like, you know, that sounded, and it still does sound otherworldly. You know, with the vocals, Devota's vocals on it, and you know, and a one-string guitar solo, the one-note guitar solo, which is still fantastic. One of the best solos ever on one note. You know, that was great.
But that was the whole beauty of punk, one, that anybody could do it.
You know,
Like it took away the Rick Wakeman,
definitely,
kind of like prog, overkill of everything, musicianship. You know, it meant Joe Blogg from the street could get up and play and
definitely
make a noise.
And it influenced all these local kids, to start bands, to start punk bands. And which is what happened round our way. They had a couple of local bands. There was one called the Wind Ups, and there was another one. They was originally called the Antics, and we used to go and watch them down the local youth club. That was the first punk gig I ever went to, was the Antics down Haverhill Youth Club.
Yes.
And they were great. I mean, but we was all mates as well, which was good, But it was like, wow, we're doing this, or you're doing this. Like, I wasn't nothing to do with the band. But it was like, you're doing this, and this is like, this can be done, as you were saying, you don't need to be Rick Wakeman, you don't need a big lorry with your name sprayed on the roof. It was eye-opening, and it was out there in the world, like, come on, let's go and do something, and a lot of people did, and the Antics turned out into 13th Chime. I don't know if you'd heard of 13th Chime. They were sort of proto-goth. Put out a few independent, like, self-label. It was on LEJ Records, I think they put them out. But they were self-financed, totally independent punk rock. That's the way you did it as well. There was no majors involved here. Sold a lot, and them records are now going for a good few bob each. And still trying to do that today. Kind of keep to the punk ethos.
Yeah, but you're still up in Haverhill. When did you move to London then?
Oh, when did I move? In my teens, in my late teens, I moved back down, got out of there, and moved into the East End, back into East Ham. So it's like I actually ended up spending most of my life in East Ham, Canning Town, around there, Custom House, which was something totally different again, but also big musical areas, Had a lot of great bands come from around there, a lot of great acts. Even if you go back to Vera Lynn, she went to the local school. Small Faces, the Rejects around there.
Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden, up at the Ruskins there. We used to go up to Ruskins quite a lot. It was big metal pub, Ruskins. I think it's closed down now, unfortunately. Another one gone, another pub lost. But the Ruskins was a great place. I'd done some DJing up there as well, actually. That was
and
good.
The Bridge House as well.
Bridge House gone. The Bridge House was another famous place. In fact, just about every venue's gone from round there now. I can't think of anything that's left round there now. Which was saying, and a lot of the local pubs. I mean, our local was the Cock in the High Street. They had a stage out the back. A lot of the pubs had big rooms out the back with stages, and there was local little bands sprouting up. Most of them for fun. They'd do covers. Some of them would come up with their own stuff. It was our local band, the Diabetic Hedgehogs, I think that was called. But they used to get all the locals was down there, and it was a good night. It was always a good night. Slowly the pubs died off, or the stages died off. Everything, culture just folded round there.
Everything's changes, but
big time.
Back then, so when was that you moved back to London? 79, 80?
No, early 80s,
Early 80s.
And but that was good as well. At the time, London was kind of rocking still. Like, there was a lot of scenes going on. You had the punk thing going on still, the later end of it, and electronic stuff was big then. We was getting into the all the electronic stuff. Not say the Romantics or whatever, but there was a big electronic scene, and that was going in pubs. I mean, even the Bridge House, there was a lot going on there, electronic wise.
The mod revival, the ska revival.
Exactly. Which
Skinheads came back.
It was difficult to, I never liked to pigeonhole myself as being this, that, or the other, because I could enjoy, like you say, the mod revival. I used to love going to see the Chords. Secret Affair even. They weren't that hip to go and see, but they were a fantastic band, and still are. And still are. They were great. There was a lot of bands like that, and the ska, obviously, the Madness, your Specials. It was just a great time to be alive, wasn't it? Music-wise, we had the best of it, definitely. Yeah, just so much going on, and just strange bands. I mean, I used to spend a lot of time in the Marquee in them days.
Okay.
Going down there, was a member
Wardour
down
Street.
there. Yeah, the old Wardour Street one, and you could go down there, just have a wander past it. There's nothing else going on. Let's just pop in for a beer, see what's happening. You know, a lot of nights you wouldn't even have to pay to get in if you was a member. So you'd go in there, and you'd see some great bands like you'd never heard of. You know, I discovered bands like the Cardiacs.
Yeah.
I don't even remember the Cardiacs. They were totally out there, oddballs. Great, absolutely great stuff. And you see bands later like Blur and bands like that. They must have seen the Cardiacs in the day, or they must have listened to their records or something like. You know, you can see where they've nicked all this, a lot of the elements of their stuff. Never really made it big or anything, but a tremendous band. There was a lot of bands like that that never made it. Like the Boys Wonder and things like that used to play down there, and and a lot of the mod revival bands that were really good but never got nowhere. They got hooked in with the mod label, and it wasn't a good look, was it, for a while?
No.
You know, once the initial explosion was over, it wasn't a good thing to get lumbered with, which is a shame for a lot of these bands. But pay your money, you take your chances, don't you?
Yeah, but London was also, because I started coming to London in '82, and it was very territorial. You know, kind of like South East London, or pockets of South East London. If you were from Catford, you wouldn't mix with Lewisham, and vice versa. You know.
Well, you got your north, south, east, and west. You know, and never the twain shall meet. But I think it's still like that, I suppose. But it's even worse now. There's postcode wars, isn't it? If you even live in the wrong street these days. But it was to an extent then as well. Just going out was dodgy in them days, like, you know. Wherever you went, you went to a football match, you was on offer, you went to a gig in the late 70s, early 80s. When didn't it kick off? Like, you know, it was a guaranteed tear up for for whatever reason, like, you know. Usually no reason whatsoever. Total like stupidity. But it happened. It was a bit, I don't know, it's just the way you grew up, wasn't it? I suppose it was like that's the way things was. And later on, till, I don't know, things changed. The dance, it gets quoted a lot with the dance movement and everything, and the different sort of chemistry going on, shall I say, that things changed. But I was never really. I love dance music. I love soul music. I love reggae. I love anything that makes me move or moves me. You know, that's what I'm into. People say, you know, they ask me, man, what sort of music do you like? I said, I just like music that makes me move or moves me, and that's it. You know, it could be anything. But the dance scene in itself wasn't my cup of tea. Like, you know, I was, as I said before, I'm a rocker. I'll always be a rocker, be it a punk rocker or a rock and roller or whatever. You know, I love me. You know, Happy Mondays and stuff like that. I'd go and watch them all night long. You know. But as far as sitting in a club with a bloke playing his laptop and everybody,
So when you support Arsenal,
I do
because of your dad. Because your dad grew up opposite Highbury.
He did, yeah. Well, it's the whole family, really, and aunts and uncles, and I've told the story before. I haven't told you that my great uncle was at the first ever match at Highbury. You know, people going about being at the first ever match at the New Ground. Well, he was the first ever match at Highbury, which was 1900, whatever it was, I can't remember now, offhand. He was working for the company that printed the programmes, which was an old one-sheet programme. And he was the delivery boy that day on the Saturday, so he had to go down to deliver the sheets down at the ground. So here's the sheets for Mr. So-and-so, and he's like, all right, give them me, son, I'll take them in. He said, no, I've been told I've got to give them to this bloke here, like, you know, so, all right, so they let him in and handed over the sheets and thought, well, I'm in now, aren't I, so I might as well just stay here. So he was the first person that ever jibbed into the Arsenal over here as well. That was the great uncle. And I think we're into like the 6th generation of Arsenal supporters now in our family down there. So Yeah, lots of ups and downs.
But you still had to make that decision to start supporting Arsenal rather than Cambridge
Arsenal's in the blood. You don't get a choice. Not in our family, no. That's it. It's the be all and end all. Yeah, and it goes deep. Yeah.
When was the first game there? Your first game?
That was in the mid 70s. Yeah. And that would have been against your lot.
Middlesbrough.
He just come up in the second division.
Yeah.
And that was one of those sort of wow moments as well, like, you know. So I classed himself as a late starter really as well, you know. Yeah. But because the old man he did take us to a few games, but he wasn't very good at taking us over to Arsenal. My uncle took us; he used to take us a lot when we was kids. And that was definitely a wow moment, and it was like you knew where you belonged. Yeah. You know, it was But before that, I was Arsenal mad. Before that, the whole house was decked out with Arsenal stuff. It was Arsenal this, Arsenal that.
It was different back then, wasn't it? You kind of like it was very much a working class sport. And you know, you kind of like you could connect with the players. Yeah. But you could also, as you said, jib into the game. Or you get a squeeze, which is what you get up north. And you know, your dad you'd get him for free. You know, so it was totally a different environment to go and watch.
Yeah. You know? And as you say, it was a working class thing, and it was affordable. Yeah. You know, which is a big difference with today. I mean, we still come over it today. I don't go in the ground anymore. I'll sit in the pub and watch it because I just can't see the point of forking out like $1.50 for a season ticket. Yeah. I can't justify that sort of money and the wages they're getting, you know. And it's like no, we're losing the game a little bit. Well, we've lost the game, as like working class football supporters. It's gone. But we're junkies. We're football junkies, you know. They've got us. Like, you know, we're still there. I despise Sky TV and all this stuff and having to pay for that. Yeah. But you've got to do it if you want to watch it, haven't you? Yeah. Like, you know, you're still going to watch your team through thick and thin. Whatever happens, you ain't going to stop doing it. It's they've got us, and there till we drop, haven't we?
But you kind of like Arsenal didn't have a Cockney rejects, did they? Like West Ham had back then. We
had the 4x2s.
We had the 4x2s.
Which was a scene in itself, and a good band there was as well. What a jolly good band. The old the disco paddy stuff going on there. Yeah. They had a groove to them as well. Definitely. That was there's a good few stories of 4x2 stories to be had as well. That's for another day.
Because obviously Jock McDonald was involved with the 4x2s, and then the Bollock Brothers, I suppose, after that.
Yeah, Jock's a very dear friend of mine, who I've worked with for a long time. Ended up being around the world. We've been around the world together, toured here, there, and everywhere. Not so much in this country, but with the Bollock Brothers, we went everywhere. You know, we couldn't get arrested. Well, couldn't get arrested. It's probably the only thing we could do is get arrested here. but as soon as our feet left Blighty, it was like sellouts everywhere, all over Europe. You know, the amount of times toured over there, and they're still doing it now. You know,
he's still big in Germany. Is he not?
He's still big lots of places. Yeah. We was sell out Germany, France, Austria, Switzerland, the Netherlands, Belgium was massive. Still is. They're playing tonight. They've got 2 gigs this weekend over in Germany. 2 big gigs, and then we ended up going over to the States. And there's another load of stories there. Yeah, we went, we toured around the States for a while, and ended up staying there for a long time, and kind of living out there for a while, which was fantastic. That was great. That was just absolute chaos. Great fun.
Where did you end up?
Hollywood.
Okay.
Yeah. We was there. These was the big hair days over in Hollywood. Yeah, we was hanging around down at the Rainbow Bar and Grill, and before Lemmy got there. And Santa Barbara. We was up there for a while, and Laguna Beach, which was a beautiful place. It was a beautiful country, crazy people. And Hollywood's not what we thought it was.
I bet.
So, you know, when you get there, you think it's big lights, big stars, big this, big that. It's big problems as well. Like, you know, it's Skid Row there as well. Like, you know, and it's easy to end up there. You see a lot of people do. So you've got to be on your ball. You've got to go on your guard and on the ball over there. And I like to think we've done all right out there. Yeah, we did. We ended up having a number one record, and in California on K-Rock.
Okay.
You know K-Rock?
Yeah.
It was number one on K-Rock for the whole year. So this was a bizarre thing. I mean, by trade, I'm a bricklayer.
Okay.
And I was been down the pub one Friday after work, had a couple of beers, walking down the road. All of a sudden, the car's pulled up. Beep, Monk. Come on, go get your bag. What do you mean, get your bag? We're going to America. You're on about going to America. Goes, jump in the car and we'll tell you. Like, so jump in the car, back round to the where I was keeping round my mates. I didn't even have nowhere to live in them days. Get your passport, put a couple of pairs of trolleys and a few pairs of socks in a carrier bag, and jump in the car. Next day we're at Heathrow on a plane going to LAX. And this was bizarre. We didn't realise someone had licensed the record, Harley David, son of a bitch, from Play It Again Sound record label, which had done it in
Netherlands.
Belgium. I think there was from Brussels. Play It Again Sound was out of Brussels, but an American company had licensed it. They put it out over there, and it had gone mad. It had gone mental. We got off the plane at the other side, cut a long story short, there's a big limo there waiting for us with a bar in and TVs and so we jumped in there, and this is just like freaking us out. Like, you know, it was the day before I was on the trail.
Yeah.
And they've turned the radio on, and someone else has turned the radio on, haven't they? Yeah. Turned the radio on, and all of a sudden it's, the Bollock Brothers are landed at LAX. And now in the limo, they're coming into Hollywood now, and we'll be with you we'll be right back with you when they get in the studio, like, you know. And it's like, fucking, this is like just being in a movie, you know. Bizarre. So we just ripped the arse out of it basically over there for as long as we could, you know.
Yeah.
Until we had to get out of town in the end. You've got to get on that stage out of town, boys. We had everybody after us after about 3 or 4 months, you know. Yeah, the old Bill, the mob, we totally ripped the arse out. But it was like one of the best experiences of my life. It was fantastic, you know. Partying with all the big shots. And we were holding the parties, you know. Yeah. So, you know, we was getting everybody turning up. It was people. I don't know. Don't tell many people that normally, because most people don't believe you. Especially when you get back after that. You get back on the building site. Where you been for the last 4 months? Like, you ain't going to believe this, Gov. But you know. But it's true story, folks. True story.
And then, kind of like, what happened to the Bollock Brothers after that?
Just carried on rolling. Carried on rocking, carried on rolling. Still doing it. Yeah. Talks of possibly going back to the States again for round 2. Who knows? But lots going on, new record deal in the offing. Sky's the limit. Always has been. Anything, never a dull moment, and anything can happen. Anything can happen. But so it's watch this space as far as the Bollock Brothers are going. But in the end, I had to. I stepped back from that personally after, just a bit after him. I reckon it was not good for your health, that life. It does catch up with you sometimes, and I needed to get a roof over my head, you know, and the soles on my shoes.
Was John Lydon round about then?
No, not that time. Not that, well, he was over in the States. He told we bumped into Sean Penn one night. He came to one of our parties. Well, we met him in the Londrian Hotel.
Yeah.
In the bar there one evening, and we was having a party there that night, and he walked into the bar with his brother Chris and the minder Chris, who's, I think he's died now, funny, but started rapping with him. He said, yeah, so he said, who are you guys? He says, oh, we're the Bollock Brothers. He goes, wow, I know you. He said, John Lydon told me to stay away from you guys. He told me to steer clear of you guys, like, you know, so you know you're doing something right, you know, when your name's getting bandied about as potential. But he was going out somewhere with his brother. We said we'd having a party later. Come back to the party, like if whenever you finish doing what you got to do. If we're not going to see him again later on. Knock at the door, open the door. There's him with Chris, and come in. He turned up at the party, and I think it was a bit too wild for him in the end. Though he stayed for a while, but not too long. His party was getting a bit out of hand, and there's turned out being one of the other reasons we had to leave that haven of a country over there, you know. But it was good fun while it lasted. Yeah.
I suppose Arsenal would have been changing round about then as well. With was that George Graham's time?
Yeah, George was there then.
You had a bit of success, you know, good success.
Well, we won the. What did we win? We won the League Cup.
Yeah.
When he first brought the League Cup back when we beat Liverpool, but the year before, that was one League Cup. I've never seen that game to this day. I was living in Hamburg at the time. Okay. Another story, yeah.
I love Hamburg.
Hamburg is a fantastic city.
Great city.
Yeah, defo. Yeah, I was actually living in a wardrobe just off of the Reaper barn. Yeah, a walk-in wardrobe in my mate's flat just off the Reaper barn. We was building studios. He was Altona Recording Studios.
Okay.
We built that over there. With a friend of mine, Boris, who was also the guitarist in the Bollock Brothers at the time. And who's a very good Luther guitar builder. He's building guitars for the Scorpions and Crosby, Stills and Nash and people like that, you know, the unique ones for them. Hamburg's just crazy. Well, that was it was over there. Arsenal were playing Luton, the famous game against Luton apparently, which I never saw. I can remember sitting in my little wardrobe in my cupboard with a radio trying to get it on the BBC World Service or something. Couldn't get nothing. Ended up having to phone my mum at home. Got on the phone after the game. If you had, we get on, Mum. We lost basically, and I've still never seen that game and don't want to. From what I've heard, it was not one of our greatest moments. So I never saw that. But Hamburg, they just brought it back to me there. That was a fantastic place. That was the scene of one of the dodgiest gigs I ever went to as well, or ever was involved in. The Bollock Brothers were turned into a big riot, a massive riot. Yeah.
Where was that then?
That was in a park. It was a festival in one of the parks there, the big park. You know where the...
St. Pauli?
No, that's not where the festival was. That's where we used to live. But the festival was, you know, where the big tower is, the radio tower. The big, I can't remember what they call it. It's a beautiful park right next to it, and they've got these Chinese gardens, and there's a bit of an amphitheatre like that's there permanently, and they had this festival going on there, and we was headlining the festival there.
Yeah.
And it was an all-day thing. Various bands, local bands, a bit of variety going on. There was this lady called Gertie Molson, her name was. She was about, I don't know, she must have been in her 80s. She was about during the war. She used to be popular. Sort of musical kind of German act, but she just had this massive hit with Walk on the Wild Side. It's a cover of Lou Reed's Walk on the Wild Side.
Yeah.
Have you heard it?
I haven't.
You should. Everybody should hear this record. Everybody needs to hear that. Like it's a once in a lifetime thing. But Gertie had this hit. But I spent most of the afternoon talking to her. She was fantastic. She was just an education in herself. And she was there on the stage with all big grand piano playing this song and all these old other massive great crowd there. Went down a storm. Right, so Gertie had gone off, some of the local bands had come on, played, gone off. By the time, I don't know what time it was, late in the evening, the headline act, like 9 o'clock or whatever, it's all dark, the lights are on. On we come, the sound is shite. something wrong with the PA, I don't know. So do 3 or 4 numbers, and that's it. So no, let's just have a little break. Let's get them sort out the sound. Let's go off for a couple of minutes, get them to sort out the sound. Went off, and all the local punks who we didn't know at the time. I don't know, Hafenstrasse in them days. You know where all the squats were. The police and everybody, the local authorities were trying to get them all out, because it was like that was a massive squat down there right on the docks. There was a big campaign to get them out. There was a big campaign to stay in, and they'd had to hump with everything that was going on around the town at the time. So after we'd finished, they thought that was it, the show over. So right, they're going to cause a riot here, and they totally did cause a riot. They trashed everything. We thought it could. They didn't think it was coming back on. They said, "No, this is." We thought it was because of us. I don't know whether it was because of us or whether it's because of this thing with the Hafenstrasse. But everything got trashed. The whole PA went up. Poor old Gertie's grand piano. There was a funeral pyre on the front of the stage. Honestly, everything torched. All our equipment. I managed to save a couple of guitars, I think, but it did get a little bit evil. There was people getting jiffied and all that. Remember the jiffy days and everything? That was bad. The police turned up en masse. They got chased away. They got bottled, chased all over the park. There's massive police running away. The fire brigade turned up. They got chased away. And all of a sudden, this fire's getting bigger and bigger. It was like the park benches are getting thrown on there, Next, the riot squad, the proper riot squad turned up with the full glass shields, batons, helmets, the whole lot. I actually got some great pictures of them that are circling around with the fire behind them and me on the stage behind them. It made all the national newspapers front pages again, which we had managed to do a few times. It wasn't great for the band, losing all the equipment, etc. But managed to sell a lot of records, and #1 the week after that over there. So,
it works.
As they say, all publicity is good publicity, But that was a bit scary. That was a proper riot, And we spent the rest of the weekend going around trying to hunt down punks running around with our equipment. Managed to get a few bits back, but most of it got charred, burnt to a crisp.
Was that when because I think one of the best TV games of the 80s was when Arsenal won at Liverpool.
Best game, best TV games ever.
Yeah, that was just like, it's a great, as a neutral as to watch.
It was, they'd write books and make films about that, wouldn't they? And they did. Somebody did, made a lot of money out of it, but it was, that was just something else, That's proper storybook stuff. You couldn't write that stuff. Everybody's got a story about it. Everybody's got so where was you, where was you when JFK got shot, where was you, was you at Anfield, was you at home, was you down here, where was you,
where were you?
Me, I was sitting around my mate's flat in Custom House watching it on the telly. Funnily enough, we just got back that morning. I just got back from a 3-month tour of Europe, so ended up. Came back and thought, will I go up there? Will I just go up there and try and chance my arm up to Liverpool? I was absolutely shattered after getting back. All I needed was a big fry up and my bed. So I done that, woke up in the afternoon and what are we going to do? I can't go down the pub. I was in Custom House. We go down, it's full of all these West Ham. And it's like, no, I'll just sit here. So me and my mate Glenn watched it on the TV. And he was a West Ham fan as well. He even ended up in tears, I think, but everybody wanted us to win, People were sick of Liverpool. They was just too good in them days. Liverpool were winning everything, and people just wanted them taken down a peg or two, and we managed to that night. Never be forgotten, never ever. That was, was it the best day of your life? Was it when your daughter was born, when you got married, or was it Anfield in '89?
But it was just sheer determination of just battling all the way through that game. And a couple of moments of brilliance. And Georgie Graham. George Graham knew, he said he had it all planned out and it went exactly to his plan,
God bless him.
And then
nice one, George.
He joined Tottenham.
I
don't know, because we've talked about that last week with some friends. Just like, how did he end up at Tottenham? You know.
Oh, I know. It's a bit of a mystery, but you know, a bit of vengeance back on people who've done him over here, maybe done him wrong. I don't know.
But then he kind of after.
You'd have to ask George.
It was Rioch after George Graham, wasn't it?
Bruce,
He never really took off, did he?
Bruce Dunlop, he didn't do too bad. He got Dennis Bergkamp here. That was. Bergkamp was one of his. People say it was David Dean, but Bruce, and he got us back into Europe that year he was here, and. Bruce had a bit of he got shafted a little bit, I suppose. He was never an Arsenal man, you know. No. But then again, nor was Arsene Wenger, who none of us had heard of, and it's like, who's this guy, you know? We soon found out, and so did the rest of the world.
But that second team, because we did speak about it earlier, that second team was one of the most frightening teams that I've ever seen, because you had 10 players with pace. They all had pace, and when they were running, because Highbury was quite a tight, small pitch, when you had the Arsenal running at you in full flight, it was like, just watching it was as a neutral or against your team, it was just like.
And you said it, and they was a team. They was a unit, you know. The defence was like the ultimate unit, if you like. You know, best defence it's ever been. You know, you just look at the numbers. You know, was it 18 goals they shipped one year, and it was like, that's not going to happen again, is it?
No.
They were just too good. And built from the back, which was what George done, like, you know. George left his defence there, and he went through. Wenger took over, and then he had that ready-made back five, and built on that, and he did build on it. You know, like you say, it was like 100-mile-an-hour stuff sometimes. You know, ping, ping, ping. Where's this going? Like, you know, people just couldn't play us.
It was beautiful.
And you know, I feel privileged to have. I had my season ticket in them days over there, and I managed to go all through that period, all through that era. I didn't miss a game, you know, and it was just a fantastic thing to live through. You know, we were spoilt rotten. We were spoilt rotten, and it was, you know,
it was a great team.
Yeah.
When did you and Binsey decide to get together with Riders of the Night?
This was been about, I don't know, 2010, 9 or 10 or something like that. I don't remember. It started off as totally. It all happened by accident. It was. It turned out as I come up with this idea that I wanted to put an album together of different people from different clubs telling their stories about football in general, like, you know, a bit of a social document, if you like, social history, but to trip-hop backing music, like, you know. So you got more than one element going on. It's just not a narration. There's music going on there to build. To evoke memory, to, you know, just put a background to it. So we tried to get that going, and we got a track done, Binsey, and found it incredibly hard getting other people to put themselves up for it. Like, you know, some people who would put themselves up for it just wasn't very good at narration or you know putting themselves across well. It kind of got rubbed off, but with what we had come up with, we'd come up with a couple of tracks in that genre, like through Bins, and another fella, Lee Gooner, who told the story of the original Gooner, you know, and we had Binsey doing the Midnight Patrol, which I don't, you obviously you've heard it, you know, and we thought, this is, you know, we've got to get this out anyway. So what was going to do? What we do? We do another track. We just knock up the punk number to bang it on. We'll fill out a CD for a little. So we managed to get 3 tracks. Got them down on CD. Got a load pressed up. I can't remember 5,000 pressed ups.
5,000, that's a lot.
It was a lot. It was. I think we got a good deal or something.
Outside Highbury, quite.
I was around every pub in the vicinity before games and after, outside the ground, in the ground. But they were selling like hotcakes. It was like, and then it became like, you know, that went down a storm, and then it became when's your next gig? And it's like, I've never thought about this. We haven't really got a band, like, you know. We'd done the trip hop stuff. We'd done in the studio with our producer Brian, who's a fantastic geezer. Who's helped us out immensely. But as far as a band, I mean, we got a band of sorts together to do this punk track that went on it, Eyes Right. So we thought, okay, let's get a band together. And we did. We managed to go out and get a few people. Funnily enough, the first gig we'd done, it wasn't really a gig. We'd done it to promote our second CD, which was called Be Jesus Said Paddy, which I'd written with the help of Gary Lamin.
Good old Gary.
Yes.
Like
all right, Gary. He helped us on that one with the music, and it's just a funny Gary story. But the first thing we'd done was up the Rocket in Holloway Road, which is a big student places, you know, the massive place up there. They had it open up there for the bars and everything before the games, and we thought we'll go and promote it up here. We had a word with them, said come and play. So we went up and we had a few numbers to play them. There was a game on. There was a game on before our game on the TV. I think Chelsea was playing somebody, and so at half time of this game, said, right, we'll go and do it because people are watching the football. Go and do your numbers in. So they rigged up a few mics. It was me and Bins, Gary on guitar, and banjo Mick. We had a banjo player on there as well. So we got up, done the numbers, went down, nice one and everything, and it's like, well, they're not out for the second half yet. It's like, let's carry on. Like, I said, Gary, you just done a song called Football. Why don't you play that guy? You know his football song. So all right then, So he's like, I'll have a go at that. So he's gone on, he started singing, and all he's playing away. Just started his song, blum, 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 and all of a sudden everyone's boo, boo. He's getting stick. He didn't realise behind him the TV was still on, and they was doing an interview with Ashley Cole on the who we just sold to Chelsea, under funny circumstances, and everybody's giving Ashley Cole. But Gary thought it was him they was booing. Like, wasn't he was quite miffed at that. We was there laughing, had to laugh. Gary thought everybody was after him, but he wasn't. It was Ashley Cole behind him on the TV. They was booing. Like, he thought, what have I done wrong here? It was quite comical. But and after that, so we did get a band together. Done our first gig at the Purple Turtle.
I mean, that's the video that I first saw. Was on YouTube from the Purple Turtle.
And
that's when you had Tony playing.
Tony, that was the first proper gig. Tony Feedback, Tony Morrison, Tony Perfect. God bless you, Tony. He's sadly missed. But he was a lovely fella, Tony. That was a bit of a ramshackle band. We got together as well, but went down a storm again. We just kept everywhere we was going. We was going down a storm, and all the venues we played at loved us because all our followers, like, we put in a big following.
And all
drinkers, like, you know. So it's, can you come back next week? You know. And it just snowballed. And it's an accident that got out of hand. We call it, you know. That's how I see it anyway. Started by accident, got out of hand, but we've had some thoroughly enjoying times, moments, some shite ones, but so doesn't every band, you know. That's life, you know. That's
so
life.
Who's in the current lineup then?
The current lineup, let's think. We've got there's the ever presence, Binsy and myself. On bass, we've got John Woodward, who's
he was in the Upstarts.
He was the last lineup of the Upstarts. The Gonads, Long Tall Shorty with Tony.
He's in another band at the moment as well, in a 3-piece band.
Vicious Love.
That's the one.
Who, all of whom have played with the Riders.
Okay.
And the drummer of Vicious Love is now playing with the Riders as well.
Okay.
So we've got 2/3 of the Vicious Love, and Billy, the singer guitarist, he done a gig with us as well. He's a lovely fella. But Vicious Love, go and check them out as well if you get a chance. They're good. Who else we got in the band? So there's Paul, the drummer, who's also in the Gonads. And Mark Delgadis is our lead guitarist.
Okay.
He's a local lad, Arsenal. We're all Arsenal except for John. But, we have a thing with bass players. We've never been able to find an Arsenal bass player. The one before him was Millwall, Ricky. But no, we go through a lot of. Over the years, we've gone through a lot of personnel. But.
What's the strategy then? Do you play on match days?
Sometimes. But it's difficult doing it. We love doing match days. The following's so good as well. But it's also nice to play gigs that aren't football orientated, So sometimes we kind of do two different sorts of gigs. They do the football ones where you keep everybody happy and keeps ourselves happy. It's party time, Football gigs is party time. And always good fun, never a dull moment. Just love doing it, And we're doing a gig here at the last game of the season, and the way that things are going at the moment, I don't know when this is going to go out, whether it'll be, I'm going to shoot myself in the foot here or predict anything. But if things do go our way, that should be quite a gig.
I mean, for a couple of years, a lot of my Arsenal mates have been Arteta out.
Yeah.
This season, he's moulded them into a team that's been competitive, and it's good to watch them play. Because they're playing together and the football's good.
I'd say people who are Arteta out is a bit far fetched. I think it's like he's only been here. Well, this is his 3rd year here, and I always said whoever you put in a job, it's going to take them 3 years to sort out the mess that was left behind from the previous incumbents. Which he's managed to do now. There's only a couple left from when he took over, playing as regulars in the team, and he's turned it around. And you're thinking he's still really only the apprentice manager, Arteta. This is his first gig as a manager, and 3 years he's doing all right, isn't he? Top of the table. Nobody really expected us to be up or even thereabouts anything like this at the beginning of the season. We'd have taken your hands off for that at the beginning of the season, and if it doesn't happen this year, it's got a young team, young squad, build on that and see how we go next season, and that'll soon be round again. That's one of the things with football, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is.
Yeah,
we are getting a bit busier here.
We are now.
Monkey, thank you very much for your time.
No, not at all. No, it's been
overrun with Arsenal.
Yeah, they're starting to fill up a bit now, and getting the early ones in. Thank you. Enjoyed it. Good health, my friend. Good health, everyone. Take care.